From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. 3 out of every 4 local government units or LGUs nationwide have been provided with patient transport vehicles or PTVs, with more on the way as part of government efforts to strengthen the Philippines' emergency healthcare system. This, as President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday led the turnover of 124 PTV units for Eastern Visayas LGUs in Ormoc City. In his message, President Marcos said the rollout is part of his administration's commitment to ensure that every province, city, and municipality will have access to emergency medical transport.
We came here because this is part of the continuing, shall we say, strengthening of our healthcare system. Dahil talaga, bata pa ako, ay lagi pinapaalala sa akin ng aking mga ninuno na kahit gaano kakayaman, kahit gaano kakasikat, pag ikaw ay may sakit, hindi mo ma-enjoy lahat ng pinaghirapan mo buong buhay mo. So you have the most important thing for every person, hindi lang sa in politics or in public service, pero bawat tao ang pinakamahalaga ang kalusugan. And so that's what we have focused ourselves on.
The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, which implements the Medical Transport Vehicle Donation Program, has already delivered 1,297 PTVs nationwide, covering 75% of all LGUs. The vehicles are equipped with stretchers, oxygen tanks, wheelchairs, first aid kits, blood pressure monitors, and medicine cabinets, enabling safe and timely patient transfers, especially in remote communities. President Marcos said the initiative directly supports the Universal Health Care Act by making essential health services accessible. The chief executive also highlighted other ongoing reforms, such as the establishment of specialty centers, cancer and dialysis facilities, and the introduction of zero billing in Department of Health hospitals.
So this is the model that we think is the most practical. It will cover 90+% of all the needs of a patient. He can work as an ambulance, it can work as a transport vehicle. So, as of now, we have out of the 1,642 cities and towns, we have been able to give away 1,173 na PTV. So, malapit na. Pinapangako sa akin ni Mel ang ating that by the end of the year we will start already the second round. Kasi pag natapos na namin mag 100% na lahat itong 1,642 na bayan at saka lungsod, babalikan din namin. Meron dyan talaga, yung maliit, okay na yung isa. Pero yung malalaki, kulang. So baka bigyan na naman natin ng isa pa. So we have to Patuloy lang namin gagawin hanggang medyo naman maayos na yung ating sistema ng ganyan.
2025, PCSO has allocated 1 billion pesos for the procurement of an additional 395 units, keeping the program on track to achieve full nationwide coverage before the year ends.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. expressed admiration for the 100 million peso RM-TAN solar pump irrigation project or SPIP in Ormoc City, the largest of its kind in eastern Visayas, citing its use of advanced technology to boost farm productivity. The facility, developed by the National Irrigation Administration or NIA, features 7 10-horsepower solar-powered pumps designed to irrigate 100 hectares of farmland twice a year. It is expected to benefit 92 farmers and their families by replacing costly diesel pumps with a cleaner and more efficient irrigation system.
We just came from yung Chuchi na village where nagkapagtayo kami ng isang irrigation pumping station that is solar powered that covers 100 hectares. So ito yung ginagawa. We have built over 100 of those around the country already. I just wanted to see how it worked. Maganda naman, we're using the best of high technology. May satellite imaging, merong AI na ginagamit. It's really impressive kasi napakaganda sa ani.
The president underscored that the project embodies his administration's push for climate-smart agriculture and food security, stressing that renewable energy-driven irrigation will ease costs for farmers while improving yields. The Ormoc SPIP forms part of NIA's nationwide rollout of solar-powered irrigation systems, with 11 projects currently nearing completion in eastern Visayas alone. After inspecting the projects, President Marcos led the distribution of patient transport vehicles to eastern Visayas local governments.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. visited the Department of Health Eastern Visayas Medical Center or DOH-EVMC in Tacloban City to evaluate the implementation and effectiveness of the Zero Balance Billing or ZBB program. In his media statement, the President announced that under the ZBB program, patients and their families will no longer shoulder additional costs after discharge, as expenses are fully covered by the DOH and the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth. President Marcos also emphasized the importance of ensuring that all DOH hospitals nationwide strictly adhere to procedures so Filipinos receive proper care without financial burden.
Ngayon, we just have to make sure na lahat ng ospital sa buong Pilipinas, alam nila ang procedure. Kasi bago ito. But I think kaya naman nila because maliwanag naman kung ano yung PhilHealth, ano yung sa DOH, at sinong qualified. Lahat naman halos qualified. This is for kung kailangan magpa-confine. Pagka hindi kailangan magpa-confine, tinuturuan natin ang ating mga kababayan, pumunta muna sa Bukas Center. Baka naman, kung ano yung reklamo nila, baka maayos naman sa Bukas Center. Pero kung hindi kaya ng Bukas Center, papupuntahin naman sila sa ospital at aalagaan din sila. And again, zero billing ang paglabas. Wala na sila, walang dagdag na bayad, wala nang dokumento, wala nang kailangan gawin. Pipirma na lang, pwede na nilang i-uwi ang kanilang pasyente.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday said the government's Bayad Na Bill Mo program, also known as the Zero Balance Billing Policy, is proceeding well, noting that more Filipinos are availing of free medical services in state-run hospitals. During his visit to the East Avenue Medical Center, or EAMC in Quezon City, President Marcos lauded the initiative for ensuring that patients leave hospitals without paying out-of-pocket expenses, while also paying tribute to healthcare workers for their heroism and dedication to service. The President visited on Monday the Eastern Visayas Medical Center, or EVMC, in Tacloban City, where he checked on patients benefiting from the program. Since his State of the Nation address or SONA in July, President Marcos said over 12,000 patients at EVMC and around 2,000 at EAMC have availed of the program. President Marcos also credited healthcare workers for their service beyond duty hours and recalled their sacrifices during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ito yung patuloy natin pag-inspeksyon at pag-siguro na yung ating programa na zero billing ay unang-una na nagagampanan ng lahat ng mga ating mga ospital, ating mga staff, ating mga doktor, ating mga nurse, lahat ng ating medical services ay naunawaan kung ano ba yung programa at kung paano makapag-avail ang mga pasyente. Pangalawa doon, yung mga pasyente at saka kung family nila, kailangan din na malaman nila na merong ganito, na zero billing na. Lahat ng pinuntahan namin ay tinignan namin kung ano yung PhilHealth na kontribusyon. Siyempre, iba-iba, case to case, iba PhilHealth na kontribusyon, ano yung sa DOH. At yung kaduluduluhan, lagi naman zero billing. Kailangan natin pasalamatan lahat ng ating magigiting at napakasipag at napaka-dedicated na healthcare workers. Hindi sa mga doktor, sa mga nurse, sa mga medtech, sa mga staff, sa mga non-medical, lahat. Ay alam naman natin, hindi sila necessarily na sumusunod sa oras ng kanilang duty. Pag kinakailangan sila ay nandyan pa rin kahit na on break na sila. Kaya kailangan talaga natin pasalamatan. Ito ang kabayanihan ng ating nakita nung COVID. At tuloy-tuloy nakikita natin ang kabayanihan ng ating mga medical health workers. At talaga naman, isa na ako doon. I was one of the beneficiaries. Kung hindi sa inyo, wala na ako rito. Natangay na ako ng COVID. So I'm happy to be able to report that the zero billing program is proceeding well. Siyempre, sa umpisa, we have to information drive, hindi lamang sa mga ospital, kung hindi pati sa pasyente.
President Marcos emphasized the importance of informing both hospital personnel and patients about the program. The chief executive said word of mouth is also helping spread awareness, encouraging Filipinos to seek treatment without hesitation.
Kaya ikalat ninyo ito, word of mouth. Kasi yung mga ibang pasyente sila, wala kayong binabayad, meron palang ganyan. So ikalat natin, palaman natin sa lahat ng tao para hindi na sila nagdadalawang isip na magpatingin, magpagamot at magpagaling.
The medical assistance is funded by the Medical Assistance to Indigent and Financially Incapacitated Patients, or MAIFIP, Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, and Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or PAGCOR, and by the allocation of DOH hospitals. The assistance is in addition to the financial support from the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. warned on Wednesday that contractors and officials found liable for major anomalies in flood control projects could face economic sabotage charges, saying that he is angry about how these anomalies have denied Filipinos of vital infrastructure and basic services.
I'm getting very angry. This is what's happening. Kundi naman, paano naman, wala talaga, 220 meters, 55 billion, completed ang record ng Public Works. walang ginawa, kahit isang araw hindi nagtrabaho, wala kang makita, puntahan ninyo, wala kayong makita kahit na ano. Tuloy-tuloy ang pagbaha doon sa kabila. So, yes. Oh. If all of these projects were properly executed and implemented, ang laki nang nawala na problema sana sa atin at sa mga taong bayan. At saka mas magiging maayos hanggang irrigation, hanggang water supply, fresh water supply for household. Pero ito yung ginagawa nila talagang nakakapinsala pa sa mga local residents. So yes, no, I'm not disappointed, I'm angry.
The Commission on Audit, or COA, had already ordered a fraud probe of all flood control projects in Bulacan Province, which got the majority of funds in Central Luzon from 2022 to 2025. This comes after President Marcos announced in his July State of the Nation Address or SONA that he will conduct a comprehensive audit of all multi-billion peso flood control projects. The president said that his legal team would investigate the COA findings and is seriously considering charges.
As I said, ang trato namin with all of this is, siyempre marami na. For example, falsification na ito. Yung ganito, dahil nag-report sila na completed. Hindi, kitang-kita naman na hindi completed. So immediately, that's a falsification. So that's already a very big violation. And for the big ones, talagang I'm thinking very hard to pipilahan natin sila na economic sabotage. Because economic sabotage is very clearly tignan natin yung utang ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas, ng Republika ay mababawasan kung naging maayos lahat itong kasi ngayon babalikan na natin ngayon to, saan napunta yung pera, hahabulin natin, kakasuhan natin sila, how long will that take? Hindi ba? In the meantime, we have to actually still build the flood control project.
President Marcos Jr. also advised the public to continue reporting abnormalities in flood control projects via the Sumbong sa Pangulo website.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Wednesday, Malacañang conveyed elation as the Philippines approaches upper middle income status, highlighting the government's efforts to drive economic growth and development. Presidential Communications Office, or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro made the remarks in response to Department of Economy, Planning and Development, or DepDev Secretary Arsenio Balisacan's claim that the Philippines is on the verge of reaching upper middle income status. Castro added Balisacan said that the country is only $26 away from meeting the benchmark. She said that the administration of President Marcos is confident that the Philippines would reach the milestone this year.
Of course, masaya po ang palasyo dahil nakikita po natin ang pagtatrabaho ng administrasyon para po mapaganda ang ating ekonomiya. At ang sabi nga rin po ni Secretary Balisacan ay $26 na lamang po ang kulang at hoping po na nito pong taon na to, 2025, ay maaati na po natin to. Pero malalaman po natin ito sa July 2026.
Thank you.
So, tignan po na lang natin.
Balisacan previously reported that the Philippines has met its gross national income, or GNI per capita targets for both 2023 and 2024, and that it is only $26 short of being an upper middle income country. He added that the Philippines' economy remained Asia's fastest growing from 2023 to the first quarter of 2025.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Wednesday, Malacañang welcomed the European Union or EU's conclusion to drop the Philippines from its list of high-risk third countries for money laundering and terrorist funding, citing increased worldwide confidence in the country's financial system. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, the development underscores the Marcos administration's ongoing efforts to tighten financial safeguards and attract more foreign finance. She said that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has urged the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP to intensify measures that will strengthen the banking system and boost economic growth. The European Commission enacted a law on June 10th that removes the Philippines and 7 other nations from its high-risk list effective August 5th. The delisting comes after other milestones this year, when the Financial Action Task Force or FATF removed the Philippines from its gray list in February and the United Kingdom removed Manila from its high-risk list in March. The Philippines was placed on the FATF gray list in June of 2021, resulting in inclusion in EU and UK advisories. As a result, banks and corporate entities in member nations imposed stronger client due diligence requirements on the country. According to the BSP, the EU's decision is a clear sign that the administration's reforms are delivering results. She emphasized that the central bank would continue to advocate for long-term anti-money laundering policies to ensure the country's progress.
Pilipinas, wala na sa listahan ng high-risk third countries ng European Union. Ibig sabihin lang nito ay patuloy ang paglakas ng anti-money laundering at anti-terrorism financing measures ng bansa. Ayon na rin sa utos ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., lalo pang pag-iigihin ng BSP ang mga reforma upang palakasin ang ating financial system na siya namang magsusulong ng economic growth and global confidence. Dagdag pa ng pamunuan ng BSP, senyalis ito na gumagana ang mga hakbang ng Administrasyong Marcos Jr. para palakasin ang kumpiyansa ng mga international investors sa bansa. Bukod sa mas maraming potential investors ang maaaring maengganyo na mamuhunan sa bansa, posible ring bumaba ang remittance fees at mas gumanda pa ang relasyon sa pagitan ng ating local banks at ang kanilang foreign counterparts. Hindi naman ito nagtatapos. Ang tungkulin ng Bangko Sentral, ipagpapatuloy nito ang pagpapatibay sa ating anti-money laundering reforms para sa long-term progress ng bansa.
That was Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. paid tribute to First Lady Louise Liza Araneta Marcos on her birthday, describing her as a steadfast partner, loving mother, and tireless First Lady. In a social media post early Thursday, the president called Liza his first and only lady, recalling her role not only in their family but also in public service. President Marcos said she has always been his partner through everything, a loving mother to their boys, a brilliant lawyer and teacher, and now a tireless First Lady who gives so much of herself to others. A lawyer and longtime law professor, the First Lady has been actively involved in socio-civic work, lending support to programs on women's and children's welfare, legal aid, and community outreach. She has also taken a leading role in Lab for All, a flagship initiative that brings free medical consultations, diagnostic services, and medicines to communities across the country in partnership with the Department of Health or DOH and local government units or LGUs. Beyond her advocacies, Mrs. Marcos continues to juggle her profession as an academic with her responsibilities as First Lady, rather often accompanying the President in official engagements at home and abroad. Earlier this week, the First Lady shared on her social media that she would go on a birthday sabbatical.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. urged Filipinos to draw lessons from history as a guide for leadership and citizenship, underscoring peace and unity. In his message for Ninoy Aquino Day, the President said, "The annual observance brings to light a chapter in our nation's shared story that continues to echo across generations and public memory." President Marcos said the passage of time has given Filipinos greater clarity and deeper perspective in looking back on Aquino's legacy. The chief executive reflected on how the Philippines has undergone a transformation in decades defined by broader discourse on power, memory, and citizenship. The transitions, he stressed, were moments when Filipinos chose to meet history with resolve. President Marcos Jr. emphasized that the commemoration should not only honor the past but also challenge present and future leaders to govern with sobriety, conscience, and foresight. Ninoy Aquino Day, observed every August 21st, marks the assassination of former Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. in 1983 at the Manila International Airport. Aquino's death sparked massive protests that eventually led to the 1986 People Power Revolution.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is live on audio streaming. Just download eVox PBS receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Mapayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.